They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, married her brother.
That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
Pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at. I'm running that down this week.
Ilhan Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little turban.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have some absolutely massive news today. We might be getting some justice with Ilhan Omar. Yes, this is massive news. This isn't just coming from anywhere. This time it's coming from someone legit. This is not just out of the ether. These aren't just rumors. This time is coming from border czar Tom Homan himself. And it appears as if he is making it his personal mission to go after Ilhan Omar. And of course, this whole situation where she apparently married her brother, I guess, to get him over into the United States in a legal manner. And of course, as Americans, this whole marrying your brother thing, we tend to look down on this. This tends to be something that we find strange. And of course, this is just one of a litany of things that just so happens to be incongruencies between American culture and Somali culture. Another one of those things, it appears, is the fact that we find it wrong to siphon off hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars, American taxpayer dollars, for your own benefit, for the Somali community in Minneapolis, and to send to Somalia and benefit and pay tons of money to allegedly al-Shabaab terrorists in Somalia. That's just another thing that Americans happen to look down on. So there's a lot of incongruencies between the Somali community and the American people, and they're just building over the day. And Donald Trump has made it his personal mission, it appears, because every time he goes in public now, he is going after the Somali community, saying that they are garbage, that they shouldn't be here. We don't need any more of them because, like I said, all these incongruencies, they just don't fit in with American culture, because we do have a culture and they don't fit in well with it. And Donald Trump knows this, and he's making it his mission to root out the corruption and the illegals in that community and get them out of here. But Tom Homan, however, it appears, is making it his personal mission to go after Ilhan Omar. Yes, he went on Newsmax and he said so himself. He said that he was going to look into it, and he was going to look into this whole weird situation between Ilhan Omar and her brother and how she married her brother in order for him to come to the United States legally. I want you to take a look at this. This is very exciting stuff. I can't wait for Ilhan Omar to face justice. But take a look.
The border czar, Tom Homan, joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And, sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file, and says, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitation became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who run DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at. But this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
Tremendous. That I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally.
But this allegation that Ilhan Omar married her brother is absolutely true. And, it begs the question, how is Ilhan Omar still here? How is she still able to be a representative in Congress if she committed immigration fraud? I mean, it's a absolutely valid question. And it really leaves a lot of Americans wondering, what is our government doing when they just allow this type of fraud to run rampant? Especially something like this that goes directly against American values. Americans, like I said in the beginning of this video, we look down on someone who marries their sibling. That's weird. That's odd. That is not American values whatsoever. And in fact, we are repulsed by it. And that's why this has become a big story. And that's why Ilhan Omar and those around her want to try to suppress this story. But it's true. I mean, back in 2020, this was like when it first started becoming a story. The Daily Mail said this: Squad Congresswoman Ilhan Omar told friends years ago that the man who went on to become her second husband was in fact her brother. And now for the first time, one of those friends has come forward to reveal exactly how Omar and Ahmed Elmi scandalized the Somali community in Minneapolis. Abdi Hakim Osman is the first person to go on record to speak on how Omar said she wanted to get her brother papers so he could stay in the United States at a time when she was married to her first husband, Ahmed Hirsi. But hardly anyone realized that meant marrying him. Quote, no one knew there had been a wedding until the media turned up the marriage certificate years later. So this was the original story talking about this, where she indicated that she wanted to, get her brother papers so he could stay in the United States. And in order to do so, she married her brother. And even this guy was like, yeah, it was a little bit strange. No one knew this, but there is a marriage certificate of Ilhan Omar doing this. And it really begs the question, why are we allowing this? Why are we putting up with this? She needs to be arrested and she needs to be deported yesterday. And it appears as if President Trump himself also agrees with me and agrees with Tom Homan. He is very focused on Ilhan Omar. And it's really funny because Ilhan Omar is really feeling the heat. If you listen to what she's been saying lately, she's been trying to make it look weird that Donald Trump is so focused on her and in her Somali community. She's saying, yeah, it's really creepy that Donald Trump is so focused on us. Why is he obsessed with us? Kind of like, your ex-girlfriend. When you break up with her and she wants to pretend to everybody that you're obsessed with her. But in reality, you don't want to have anything to do with her. You just want her to leave, which is what Donald Trump wants. And I don't think she's going to be here much longer, guys, because Donald Trump here, he went on an absolute tirade against her at a rally in Pennsylvania. This is absolutely incredible, guys. You got to listen to this. I mean, he just really breaks her down and says, listen, we don't want this garbage in the United States. We don't need these people. She's wearing a turban. I mean, who is she? Why is she even a representative in Congress? It doesn't make sense, but take a listen.
Do we have any individuals from Somalia in the group? Please raise your hand. That's for Minnesota, That's called the Great Big Minnesota Scam with one of the dumbest governors ever in history. I love this Ilhan Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little turban. I love her. She comes in, there's nothing but bitch. She's always complaining. She comes from a country where, it's considered about the worst country in the world, right? They have no military, they have no nothing, they have no parliament. They don't know what the hell the word parliament means. They have nothing. They have no police. They police themselves. They kill each other all the time. I love it. She comes to our country and she's always complaining about the Constitution allows me to do this. We ought to get her the hell out. She married her brother in order to get in, right? She married her brother. Can you imagine if Donald Trump married his sister? Beautiful. She's a beautiful person. If I married my sister to get my citizenship, do you think I'd last for about 2 hours, or would it be something less than that? She married her brother to get in, therefore she's here illegally. She should get the hell out, throw her the hell out. She does nothing but complain.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I am with the crowd on this one. We need to send her back. I mean, what Trump says is absolutely true. Ilhan Omar, she comes from one of the worst countries in the entire world. She comes here and she complains and she has no appreciation for the American system, for the United States. She has no respect for the American people. And you can see it clearly. I mean, the most clearly of all, you can see it because when her community and when her people are caught up in this giant fraud scam, the biggest in the history of Minnesota. Does she apologize? Does she try to rectify things? Does she try to work with the federal government and ICE to try to get these fraudsters out of her community, out of her state? No, she does not. Instead, she blames the federal government. She says that they're bigots. She calls Donald Trump Hitler. She calls his administration the Third Reich. She says the same things about Stephen Miller. So this person is just such a terrible person, and she does not fit in with American culture. I don't consider her American. She does everything she can to subvert American culture, to try to change it. She has enclaves in Minnesota where it's all Somali culture, and it shows you just what these people are trying to do. They don't have respect for our culture. They don't have the respect for Americans. They want to bring their culture here and establish like a little Somali in the United States. And that's a problem. You know, people like to say that conservatives and Republicans, we just have such a problem with immigrants coming over to the United States. And I don't think historically, really, we've been against illegal or against immigrants in general, as you know, as an idea. What we have an issue with is, of course, this has been kind of brought bare during the Biden administration when there was 15, 20 million illegals that came over the border, is these people, they're coming here and they're establishing like their own little communities. Immigrants are supposed to come to the United States and assimilate. And Americans, I don't think we necessarily have a problem with immigrants, but when it gets to such a large number that they feel emboldened that they can just have their own like little country where they're from here in the United States, it makes real Americans feel uncomfortable because we have a culture and we have, norms that we feel are important. And when we start to become outnumbered by people from outside of the United States, that's when it becomes an issue. Because these people have no respect for us. They come here and they feel like we just have an unlimited money supply that they're entitled to. And this is something that you saw with the Somali community in Minnesota. They don't care. They see us as a bank. They see us as a checkbook. And their one goal is try to extract as much money out of the United States as possible to go into their pockets, to go into their communities' pockets, to be sent over to Somalia, to be sent over to al-Shabaab terrorists. And Americans are fed up with that. I don't know about you, but I'm fed up with that. And I'm fed up with seeing a congresswoman, Ilhan Omar, someone who married her brother. I'm fed up with seeing her in Congress. I'm fed up with seeing her as a representative because she's not a representative of American people. She's a representative of Somali people alone. And that's got to stop. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Let me know what you think about this down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. But until then, I'll see you on the next one.